Welcome to day 3 of the Feminine Businesswoman. Now, I'd like to do a quick one-word check-in with how everybody's feeling. So, how are you feeling today? And it's really important for us to pay attention to our emotions because all emotions are good ones, even the bad ones. All right, so I'm going to start with sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so some housekeeping. First, please, I've just got the meeting version of Zoom, so please put your videos off and your mute on, otherwise I'm going to hear everything on your side. There is a chat box at the bottom of the screen, so you're welcome to add anything in there. If you want to make any comments or you want to ask any questions, please feel free to put them in. Please let me know if you can't hear me or see me or anything like that, so at least I know in advance. I'm also recording the session so that you can watch it afterwards, or if you missed it because we have load shedding these days and you may not be able to see it, you can watch it afterwards. Another reason I like to record is because often we get lots of aha moments, and while we're still kind of processing one, another one comes along and we completely miss it. So it's very nice to go and see, go through the whole process again and see what you've missed. And then I want to ask you, just be present. This is your time. Show up. I'm going to take half an hour, max 40 minutes of your time. So relax and enjoy the presentation. Okay, so a feminine businesswoman pays attention to her emotions. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to, because the words that you speak actually carry an emotion, and they impact your life on a very deep level. So on Monday, we spoke a lot about thinking as a feminine businesswoman. Today, we are talking about speaking, but speaking to ourselves. And this makes a huge difference to where we come from. Okay, so we are going to go through a couple of words that come to mind, characteristics of a feminine businesswoman. And these are a few that I came up with that I'd like us to really embrace as elegant businesswomen. I just want to put this a little bit, there we go. That's a little bit better. Otherwise, it was a bit dark. Okay, so a feminine businesswoman is elegant and disciplined, curated, confident, in control, strong, classy, poised, and powerful. And now we're also talking about being a feminine businesswoman, and these are associated, characteristics are associated with gracefulness and gentleness, empathy and humility and sensitivity. Now, I want you to think of ways that you can use these characteristics in conjunction with being a businesswoman and bring it into your work environment. Okay. Because I want you to bring it in think of ways to bring it in with a sense of strength. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I'm not quite sure, I think I wrote an email or I did a video about, I think it was called Woman versus Man. And I was talking about feminine characteristics that we bring to business, all the manly, masculine type of businesses. And one of the things I mentioned was intuition, that you can bring intuition into the business. Because I don't know about you, but I've been in so many boardrooms that, because I used to work in the building industry, and there were always guys around the table, lots of them. And the one group would be speaking about something and the other group would be speaking about something completely different. And yet they were trying to get to sort of the same turnout. And I was looking at this going, they have no cooking clue what they want. They didn't know, they didn't have the capacity to read each other like women do. So I always thought that there was a complete disconnect there. So I don't know if you guys can relate, if you've kind of been in the same situation, but that's where something feminine that can come in is your intuition that you could use in your business world. All right. So are you thinking, are your thoughts, do they give you a certain power? Because what often happens is that we use business we use it as a reason not to look after ourselves. And we don't really want to do that because, in business, I want you to actually be whole and vibrant and turned on and energized in your business. And I want you to know what you actually want. I want you to figure out what you want, why you want it, and what you need to think in order to create that. So self-care, feminine businesswoman knows that self-care starts with self-talk. Okay, so self-care is not really your facials and your massages and all that kind of thing, although it does form part of it. A feminine businesswoman knows that you need to do your self-talk. So how do you speak to someone you care about? Now I want you to think about somebody that you dearly love. How do you speak to them? And I want you to compare how you actually speak to yourself. So the words you speak carry a certain amount of energy, which then generates an emotion, which then generates an action or an inaction. So it determines if you're going to do or not do something. And then that gets a result. It gives you evidence for that thing that you are actually thinking. So I don't know if you can see it as a cycle. It's your thought, and then creates the emotion, which creates your action, which creates your result, which creates exactly what you were saying. You actually give evidence to what you're actually thinking about. All right, so you've got to be really careful about your self-talk. So let's go through some examples just so you can see. Now, I should have been putting these in a circle, but I'm not quite sure how to do that yet, so bear with me. All right, so if you ever thought, I'm not good enough in business, the feeling that may bring up for you is shame. And then when you feel shame, you don't make offers, you don't put yourself out there, you don't get new clients. And then your result is you don't get new clients. And then that's like evidence that you say, see, I told you I'm not good enough. So you're just perpetuating your circle all the time. So we're going to do a few of these so you get the hang of it. The next one is I'm overwhelmed. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, the possibility is that you start feeling anxious, or you start feeling overwhelmed is also really a feeling. And then what do you do when you're anxious and overwhelmed? Maybe you go and watch TV, or you go to the fridge and eat, and then you end up not doing the tasks. You don't complete the tasks, and it just becomes this one mess that just goes back into overwhelm again. All right. And then another one is we think sometimes I'm terrible with money. So if you're thinking I'm terrible with money, you're going to feel really insecure around money. Excuse me. And then you're going to avoid looking at your budget. You're going to avoid looking how much money you've got in your bank account. You're going to avoid making up a budget at all. And then what's going to happen? You're going to overspend. Okay. Okay, and then another one is I'm so fat. So if you're thinking I'm so fat, you're going to feel frustrated, and then you're going to overeat or not exercise, which then causes evidence that you are going to gain weight, and then that leads back to, I'm so fat. See, I'm gaining weight, I'm so fat. So you see, you've got to be so careful about how you speak to yourself, because you actually speak those words into action. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to have a new thought, which then creates a new emotion, which then generates a new action. And then eventually you can have new evidence. You can create something that you really, really want. Okay, so you have to think and act differently if you want a different future for yourself. So it's kind of like you're letting go of an old image. Like you have this old boyfriend and you need to, he's no good for you, but you have to you keep him around because he's so familiar. It's the same with a thought. You kind of hang on to the thought because it's so familiar, but it's not a good thought for you. Okay, guys, if you commit to this work, it is so amazing the changes that you will generate in your lives. I actually don't know how a person can do this without life coaching. Sorry, I just have to say that always. Okay, so next one is a feminine businesswoman knows speaks to her I am statements. Those are the two most powerful words you are ever going to speak to yourself. Okay. So, however you claim yourself to be, so it is. Okay. So, who are you? So, when you look for the answer to that, do you go to your past? Do you go to the things that your mom said or your teacher said or your friends said in the past? If you want to create a different future for yourself, you have to break up with the past, because you can't be focusing on your new version of yourself if you still facing the other way, if you're still looking to the past. So you get to decide who you are. No one gets to decide that for you. And when people ask you, who do you think you are? You tell them, whoever I choose to be. It's a very powerful statement. Okay. And a lot of people ask me also, but isn't it inauthentic to be acting and showing up as this future version of you? And I always say, would you choose to be the version that you are now? Maybe you're shy or insecure or lazy or impatient. Would you choose that person? I think the most authentic version of you is the version that you want, because that's the version that you show up for. Okay. So, you know what? Let people think whatever they want to think. They are going to have opinions. So, a feminine businesswoman stays in her lane. She thinks what she wants to, and she does what she needs to. And you let everybody else do whatever they want to do. Okay. All right. So remember that when you're creating that new version of yourself, you can't be thinking about your new version here on the right-hand side, or maybe it's your left, and then about yourself differently. So there's definitely a disconnect there. So you have to be thinking about what you want and then moving towards that. You have to actually focus. So your brain, you have to focus on what it is you want. So you give your brain something to look forward to. Okay. All right. So a lot of you, I wanted to tell you a little story here. Was one of the very first goals that I had was to be and feel more elegant. Now, I didn't know what that looked like for me. But yet that was something that I really wanted to do or find out. And I stated it, I focused on it, and I moved in that direction. And then eventually it slowly started to come to me. I did the one thing, then I did another thing. And then eventually you actually figure out what it is that you are looking for. So your direction becomes a lot clearer once you're focusing in that direction. So most of you have an idea, but you don't really know. You don't know what to do. And this is just an excuse for you to stay where you are and not move forward into the discomfort of change. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay, so a feminine businesswoman speaks from her future. So a lot of people ask me, how do you think your business, your coaching is going to go this year? And I say, absolutely amazing, because I choose to believe that. I choose to believe that my life is going to get better and better. Now, do I always have evidence for that? Absolutely not. But I'm actually focused on that. That's what I choose, because once I've chosen that, it impacts me, because I show up as that version of me who has a very good business, who has an amazing business. So a lot of you like to focus on things that you don't want, like overwhelm and fear and anxiety. So then that's what you're going to get. So you need to turn this way to your future and to exactly what you guys want. All right. Okay, let's see. And actually imagining your future. It's maybe not so easy, but it is super amount of fun. I mean, you can imagine whatever you want. It is just let your imagination go wild. All right. A feminine businesswoman speaks with love. Now, Martha Beck, she's a writer. She's also a life coach. Now, she writes about, I call them the two little gremlins. So you've got the wild child and the dictator. Now, the wild child is that part of you that throws caution to the wind. You eat what you want, you drink what you want, you don't make any plans, you just go with the wind and all of that kind of stuff. But that's not love. But then neither is the dictator who makes you feel really bad for not sticking to your calendar 100%, or if you fail, that's not love either. What you want is the loving mother who wants the best for you. So sometimes she's going to say, you know what, take a break, drink some water, have a stretch, just take it easy. And then other times she's going to say, okay, now that's enough. We need to stop playing around. Enough with the Netflix. We need to get to work. So sometimes it's going to be a little bit easier, and sometimes it's going to be a little bit more tough. So what would love say to you right now? Okay. A feminine businesswoman also speaks with compassion. So when she makes a mistake, she doesn't beat herself up. You know, it's like a lot of us speak to our pets better than we speak to ourselves. So think a little bit about that. Nothing good comes from rejecting yourself, resisting yourself, not accepting yourself. Absolutely nothing good comes from that. So a lot of people say, well, you know, how can I change? How can I change the things that I want when you know, I accept myself? I won't want to change. But actually the opposite is true. You need to accept who you are, where you are, and then change. I always say that, you know, when you're in a tough spot, you're in a work environment that you're not happy with, or you're not in a good relationship, you need to get to the place of love first. Love for yourself, love for where you are, and then you can change it. Okay. So All right, then a feminine businesswoman speaks on purpose. All right. So, what do I want to speak into fruition? Now, if you are constantly saying, I am, remember the I am statements, I am tired, I am overwhelmed, what do you think is going to happen? That's exactly how you're going to start feeling. So your mind will always go there. So you have to stop thinking that way. You've got to believe, you've got to act and believe something different. So it's not that easy to think something different just like that. And this is part of the work that I teach, is to change your thoughts just to a slightly better thought. So all you need to do is just go and think something just a little bit better, because you might not believe that full on, completely 180-degree thought that you want to think, but maybe just a little bit better, a little bit better. Okay, so what is the general tone of your self-talk? So are you nasty? Are you critical? Are you loving? Are you kind? I always remember when I was in high school, I had this English teacher called Mr. Zonneman, I remember. And my maiden name was De Brain, and he always used to call me De Brainchi. So every now and again, I actually catch myself saying, De Brainchi, blah, 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 blah. And it's normally when I've made a mistake or I think I've done something stupid or whatever. So when I hear myself say that, I go, oh, okay, that's where I am going off. When I say De Brainchi, then I know, okay, that's not a good thought to be thinking. I need to be thinking something different. Okay, so what does a feminine, a businesswoman in you say about yourself? Sorry, I thought I had a spelling mistake there. What does a feminine businesswoman in you say about herself? So she speaks words of love and support and joy and acceptability and incredibility. And you are with yourself 24/7. So don't you want to make the relationship with yourself the most amazing relationship ever? You can think to yourself, when you say things like, I'm unstoppable, I am strong, how does that feel in your body? Doesn't it just feel absolutely amazing? Okay, well, there we go. We are pretty much, let me stop the share for a sec. Okay, there we go. All right, okay, so I've prepared some questions again, like I've done for the last 2 days. And I have done this because I think they would be helpful. Sometimes, you pick up things, or you find that the same kind of problem comes up and up and up again. So it is nice to know that there are other people that battle with the same things, and hopefully you get answers to your questions if you've got something similar. But in the meantime, you are most welcome to put something in the chat if you want to ask me a question at all. Okay, so I have this, one of my clients that said, what do you do when your mom is the most negative person in your life? Okay, so it doesn't just have to be your mom. It could be somebody else, your kids, or somebody that's close to you, your sister or your brother, or that kind of thing. So I want you to decide if this is the relationship that you really want. Okay. Now you may say to me, yes, but it's my mom, but it's my sister, but it's my child. You do have a choice. You have the power to make the choice. Either it's a yes or it's a no, but you decide what you want to do with that relationship. And then remember that your mom or whoever it is, they're not going to change. They are who they are. Now, you know how difficult it is to change yourself. Why would you want to change somebody else? There's no way you're going to change somebody else if you know how difficult it is to change yourself. Okay. So they are going to have their thoughts and they are going to do their thing. So what if you did not need their approval or their support in what you were doing, how would that free you up at all? Okay, so I just wanted to get back to choosing your relationship with them. You do have a choice to choose if you want them in your life or not, because a lot of people choose not to. I chose not to have my mother in my life because she was never involved in having in when I was growing up at all. So that was a choice I made. Her values were completely different from mine, and I didn't feel we had anything in common. Now, that was me. I made a choice. It doesn't have to be you, but everybody has a choice in their lives. Okay, and then if you choose to have her in your life, okay, the first thing is, she can be, you're not going to change her. Let them be whoever they want to be. What if you could just do that? Just go, oh, okay, of course she's going to be difficult, and just deal with it. So that you just have to, you're going to have to take control of the narrative that you have around them. I hope that's helpful. Okay. And then somebody was saying, I'm at the mercy of my clients. I'm at the beck of call all hours. What can I do about that? And my first thing is a feminine businesswoman will handle this, and she would never say she's at the mercy of her clients. Remember, that is just a thought. Okay. But it's a beautiful thing that she does have clients and that she is actually prepared to give them excellent service. But you need to choose how you think about your clients. So it's not true that you are at the mercy of your clients. You decide. You go back to the facts and see. If I ask you, for instance, what does that mean? How many hours exactly are you available to your clients? How many calls do you take in a day? And you may say to me 24/7, or you may say to me 4 hours. So just be clear on what you're doing and what you are deciding. So take your power back. You are the one who chooses to look after your clients. You can choose to not look after them or to change the time that you do look after them. So take your power back. All right. The next question was, I have a really self-deprecating humor and make fun of myself, my weight, the way I do business. How can I change this? Okay. Okay, so this lady, I told her that it's actually quite important that she figured out where she was, that she recognized this in herself. And why? Ask the question, why? Why are you choosing to think that way? Why are you choosing to act that way? So it sounds like she is projecting. She's projecting because sometimes people do that because, they have they have an idea of who they are, and they think other people think that way too. So they project. They do it before the other person can do to them. So, and it sounds like it's not something that you would like to do anyway. So figure out the why and just you can flesh that out a little bit. But it is definitely the thoughts that you have about yourself. All right. Okay. I have my own business, but I really don't enjoy the selling part. What can I do? Okay. Well, this is kind of an important one in business because everything in your life is about selling. Every single day you go about selling yourself. You sell yourself by the clothes you wear. You put yourself out there. You talk to people. That's all selling. So saying that you don't enjoy selling. Now, the more you speak, you say that, the more you don't enjoy it. So remember, your wheel, your thought creates an emotion, because obviously you're going to have resistance or a little bit of fear maybe, and then you're not going to sell, and then you're not going to make any sales, and then you're not going to enjoy it because you're not making any sales. So it's a good idea just to figure out, when you say, I don't like sales, how does that feel in your body? Okay, so here's a good example of moving just a little bit better, a little bit closer to the feeling that you do want. So you kind of turn in that direction, and then maybe your thought is, you really want to think you love selling, and you start with a better thought, like, I'm learning to get better at sales. I am willing to learn about sales to do better in my business because I love my business. Do you see how slowly but surely we use a little bit more thought to get to that point? All right. Okay, and then that is the end of the questions that I had. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to sharing the screen, because why? Oops, there we go. Oh, I know, I just want to wait. There we go. Okay. I have another surprise for you tonight. Okay, so just for showing up and for showing your loyalty and coming on this call, I am going to be giving you the 5-day Declutter Your Life workshop for free. I don't know if you've been on one of these before, but they are so good. And it just gives you a little bit of a new lease on life, because you think of things differently. You clean up your environment. When you clean up your environment, you're cleaning your mind out as well. So you can just go to, I'm just wondering now. Oh, okay. Just go to, I don't think we made a link for this one. So go to hello, send me email at hello@livelifeinspire.co.za, and just put DYL, or Declutter Your Life Workshop, and I will forward you the link for the 5 days of workshop. And it is really cool. And it's, I think they're short, they're like 20 minutes each. So it's not, it won't take up a lot of your time. And then again, I just want to remind you of my offer for the 4 days is a 12-week one-on-one coaching package. And the reason I say 12-week is because you will have breakthrough upon breakthrough upon breakthrough. Even the toughest of us. I mean, I used to say that there's no way I'll be able to change. I am so ingrained in my way, and I can't do things, and I'm not allowed to, I won't be able to ever become an entrepreneur. And from coaching, it's actually busted all those myths for me. So it's a good one to, if you've got a short-term goal, we can get you to your short-term goal within 12 weeks. If it's a longer-term goal, we will definitely get you going, get you set. I speak about all the objections that you come up with on your goals. You learn a whole bunch of new things. You learn how to think. I will show you how to have a lot better thoughts about your goal if you've tried things and they don't work. Okay, so how it works is you get a Zoom call every week, and for an hour, and then unlimited written coaching, so that you can, if anytime you've got a question, or you get stuck, or you've got an urgent, or you can't remember something, you are most welcome to drop me an email. And then that is 9,000 Rand. I normally charge 15 for a 12-week one-on-one coaching package. So you get a saving of 6,000 Rand. And then the Declutter Your Life, I think markets for 3.5, if I'm not mistaken. So you get that for free, which is also an extra saving. So please go to the link, livelifeinspire.co.za /FBW, or just put that you want to take me up on my offer and send me an email right away, and we can get you set up from there. Okay, let me just stop. Okay. All right. And that would be the end of our session today. So I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow, and it's going to be a super fun class because I'm going to be talking about how to take care of your body and movement, and we are going to be talking about how to uplift your energy that is in line with being a feminine businesswoman. So I hope you guys have a great evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you. Good night.